Am I live? Of course I'm live. People, deluded, I'm back again as usual, wherever you are in this world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope you're all doing well and safe. And obviously, we lost 2-0 against Newcastle. To describe the second leg of that semi-finals as a mountain to climb isn't doing it justice. Apologies, people. I feel like I'm getting ill. At this point, it's not that I've exhausted. I felt the way I feel about Arsenal is not necessarily off the backdrop of the Newcastle game. It just feels like I'm repeating myself on all the content I do. I felt this way since August off the backdrop of the transfer window. I'm disappointed. I really am. But I cannot say I'm surprised, man. I don't know what to say really and truly, you know. For me, where do we start? I would normally ask what went wrong, but I think a better question and one that gets the brain flowing, smash the like button. What went right? The question is nothing. You know, yeah, we competed, but it's a cup game. You need to score the half chances and you need to defend well. And whether it's the lapses in concentration defensively, the lack of real creativity and cutting edge, you can look at all the shots. How many clear-cut chances did we create? And the two that I would say with Kai Havertz and obviously Martinelli, we did not bag. Are them too clinical? They're the furthest thing from it. So you have to look at the manager, how he's going about things tactically, how he's obviously assembled the squad. There's been too much money that's spent. There's been too much stability for us to have these same questions. We're begging for something to get done in January. We can waffle about the summer. For me, it's disappointing in many ways. At the end of the day, it's a cup game. Shout out to Newcastle. They played for the shirt. They played for themselves. Individuals stood up to be counted. They killed us with the half chances that they created. They were spot on defensively. Everything that I wanted Arsenal to do, Newcastle done it. And we have to step into the Lions den and try and overcome a 2-goal deficit at St. James's Park, which is difficult in itself. Now, in isolation, we don't know what the climate around Arsenal and Newcastle will be like a month from now. And at the end of the day, you have to go for it. But at the same time, 2-0 is a weird scoreline. It's a dangerous one. If you go over there, you get an early goal, you hope that they can crumble, but that's not going to be the case. You know, I think we needed a 2-goal cushion going into that. We at least needed to reduce the deficit. For me, it's the same old. There's a lack of creativity. Individuals that are out there can't do it. Of course, you know, we've been, you know, the squad has been harvested by injuries and illness, which obviously goes back to the summer and making sure we have adequate cover. We looked flat. We looked devoid of ideas. You know, young Lewis Skelly, it's the second game in the week where one of the most inexperienced players looks head and shoulders above his peers. You know, you've got Declan Rice, who I feel in the last games really tried to make things happen, but the man is not creative. And I'll get onto it, but I think Odegaard hid. I think everyone was crap. You know, I think Mikel Arteta was doing nonsense. I'm seeing Kai Havertz, right wing, trying to cross the ball for 5'8" Gabriel Jesus. To a degree, I feel sorry for Kai Havertz because you shouldn't be in this position at Arsenal. We've got you dropping deep. Our strikers are never in there. As I said, it is the same old things that is plaguing our team. And I think, yeah, you can say we've only got one loss at home since April. That obviously means something, but it means nothing. We've seen Spurs go a whole season without losing at their place. What happened to them? So we do have to keep some sort of context, but they always feels like connected to our club. It's always about context. It's always about narratives. You know, there's all the winners win and the losers explain. And you know what, Newcastle, the biggest testament I could say is they were 2-0 up at our place, where they haven't won since 2013 or 2010. Apologies. Isak's coming off after an hour, so they're focusing on the weekend. This is a pivotal week because you're not out of the League Cup, but it feels like we're out of the League Cup. Obviously, the FA Cup, Man United should be smelling blood. They're obviously galvanized by that performance at Anfield. They've had a week to prepare, and we have to get on with it. I don't want to see no one feeling sorry for themselves. Mikel Arteta and those above him, you paid for this when you didn't do what you did in the summer and when you've assembled the squad like this. Of course, we've been decimated by injuries. You know, Martin Odegaard, I'll get on to him, but I think he hid yesterday. But when one man is in charge of creativity, I remember when creativity was in abundance. Above all, a lot of players look out of steam. They look flat. You can tell there's a lot of these players have a lot of minutes in the legs per se. And I do think we quote unquote compete. I don't think we just, you know, bent over backwards, but we weren't good enough. Newcastle didn't have to be at their best. They just had to be competent. The same way that they were just competent at St. James's Park, the same way Bournemouth was at their place, the same way Brighton was to get a result against us or get a point. And it feels like that's the common theme around our football club. Yeah, we're in double figures for shots. How many hit the target? How many really worked the Brad car? How many clear-cut opportunities? Martinelli should be bagging. Kai Havertz should be bagging. Beyond that, Gabriel Jesus off the bench, couple headers over the bar. You're looking at Timber, you're looking at Gabriel. Even defensively, the whole team, we look disjointed. We're not following runners. We're not doing the basics. If you're not defending well, if you're not scoring your chances, that's how football's decided in both ends. You're not doing that, you're in problems. Midfield, what's going on? It's shambles. It's a shambles. Everything around the football club on the pitch is a shambles. It is a shambles. We're carrying too many players. Obviously, there's no Saka and even Ethan. It's a shambles. It's a shambles. And it's a big week. You could be out of 2 cups essentially this week. Obviously, we're trying to arrest our form. It's the same old issues for me, man, which is jarring. Edward, I'm at the point, big up yourself. I see you comment. I'm at the point where it is what it is now, man. We can scream, we can shout. It is what it is, man. Like, it's predictable. And it was coming, but it's not. It doesn't make it any less disappointing, Edward, man. Boy, DG, once again, we didn't address the midfield and attack. Really sounded like Netflix. We go again next season, and we got a lot to go over. You know, tab police, look away, because I'm probably guilty of them having the most tabs. Like, it's always next season. The talk is coming out around doing things next season where, yeah, go and dot I's and cross T's for a striker. But at the end of the day, there's still something to play for. Do I think we're going to come from behind against Newcastle? Blind optimism. Realistically, no. We can't afford to lose to Man United. You better damn well not think about losing to Spurs. And at the end of the day, no one cares. In life, when you feel sorry for yourself, things get worse. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that we've flirted with the Premier League the last 2 years. Nobody cares about the injuries and whatnot. It's now time for players and the manager to put up or shut up. And the manager's got to rethink things. It's very predictable. It's stale. It's lethargic. And another thing, especially for those that go to the Emirates, you know, obviously the players need the fans and the fans need the players. But there's becoming a theme of Mikel Arteta and all the players, they're always trying to galvanize the fans and get them behind them. Give the fans something, because it's flat. Beyond everything, it's flat. It's unexpiring. It's predictable. There's no invention. There's no intention. I'm not seeing players that I saw last season taking pride in clean sheets. We're not following runners, you know. Go and look at Isak's role in what led to Gordon. And that's the difference. And we're going to get into that's the difference beyond anything. We've come into this with an attack that's got blunt knives and we've got like a gun in Saka and we've got blunt knives. Midfield, we're making one of the best sixes in the world in Declan Rice, try and do this 8 stuff. Odegaard is hiding and we're not creating beyond Martin Odegaard. Partey's doing what he can, but his contract is running out. Young Lewis Skelly, big up yourself, pride in the performance. Jorginho, I feel you're another positive. If anything, you brought something to the table with your sub. Look at our attacking options. Look at our defensive options. Look at the tactics. We're throwing it away. We've thrown it away. You know, you need a lot of luck to get back in the Premier League race. You need a lot of luck and individual moments to get over the line of the champs. The League Cup, we hope for a miracle. We'll probably have to give Newcastle a dodgy lasagna or something. It's a myth. It's a myth. And again, I have emotionally checked out. But one thing that made me check in temporarily is Kai Havertz, right wing. What the fuck? Pardon my French. What the fuck? And you're crossing it. You're crossing it. The tallest attacker is crossing the ball. And I'm not getting at Kai Havertz because all of these fragments around the team, in the same way when it works, it's a reflection of the manager. It's a reflection of the gaffer, man. Is Rosicky the cure? I don't know. We'll get into it. I seriously hate the constant back passes instead of attacking passes. The Martinelli chance is rare. And I'm not against, you know, the slow, you can't go forward, go back in isolation. But sometimes it has to go up the gears. Everybody knows to get something against Arsenal, whether it's Everton, whether it's Fulham, whether it's to a degree Brighton, whether it's Newcastle, you just have to be competent defensively. You saw Newcastle go into a 5-4-1 or even a 5-5-0. They know Arsenal are going to move it side to side. There might be an occasional half chance, but it's like we're trying to win boxing matches on points. We never go for the knockout blow, and we're incapable of this. We don't get into this scenario overnight. It's because of not doing things in the market, relying on players that went through form, not building on what we needed to build on. And above, Mikel Arteta's got plenty of questions to answer, but above Mikel Arteta, second year in the Champions League, right? We spent 90 million. Now, Arteta fumbled, and you can ask questions as to how he spent the money. But we spent 90 million, considering we was 2 points off City. The gaffer got a new deal. That tells me those above Mikel Arteta, as long as we're in the Champions League, top 3 finish, that's cool. You know, on paper, we got out the semi-finals. We went out of the semi-finals. You get a respectable return in the Champions League and you keep up the pace in the Prem. They're happy with that. It's about getting over the line. The players, the managers, the fans, everybody says it and everyone wants it. It's horrible, man. None of our attackers can execute an uppercut or right hook without Saka to assist them. And that's one thing that annoys me. Obviously, Saka's the star boy. We've got a quote-unquote young team. But when you deep it, he's 23. He's 23. He's 23. And he's been learning on the job as well. Second year in the Champions League. Obviously, he's injured. He's 23. You've got Euro winners in there, Champions League winners in there, multiple time Premier League winners in there, people that have adequate levels of experience. And it's Saka. And then it's the young Ethan and Lewis Skelly. Why are the youngest or players that should be having their handhelds the ones making a difference? And if everybody's stinking up the gaff, I have to ask questions of the manager. You assembled the squad. Yeah, you can look at that 2024 record. There's very good records about Arsenal. There's so much good aspects apart from the one we need, which is a trophy. And for me, for these players, I said it before, of course, they want to win Prems. They want to win champs. As fans, especially those of us that support top 6 clubs, I think we harp up on about, you know, the bigger trophies and things of that ilk. But we got to remember, when you look at the amount of people that play in all of these European leagues year in, year out, compete in the champs and all these cups year in, year out, how many professional footballers actually win trophies in their careers? And these boys, you lot have been working and training year in, year out, had to hear the positives and the negatives, and you lot don't want to get a day out at Wembley. You lot don't want to win a trophy that somewhat makes it worth it. I don't question that the boys wanted to win it, but something's wrong. Something's wrong. There's no protagonist. There's no invention or intention in the final third. The whole team has dropped off a cliff defensively. Make no mistake, the way Newcastle engineered those goals was great, but the Arsenal that had the great defensive records, that was terrible. People are not following runners. You know about Isak. The manager spent all week waffling about Isak. People are not following runners. People are switching off. And we'll get into it, but the difference with Newcastle's attackers and ours is startling, and their attacking intent. Let's be honest, there was too many gaps. Whether it's because of fatigue, players not being there, just having a bad day at the office. It's horrible, man. It's horrible. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. There's reasons to be optimistic. There's reasons to be negative. I personally feel on either side, there's people that bury their heads in the sand. People waffle about that's our first loss at home. Yeah, that's all great. That's all great since April. That's all great. But what you can't deny is what's in front of us, and it's been coming. But it's only when things get really collapsed, people want to sit here and speak about stuff. Most of these players can't go again. This is why the youngsters come in and look inspired, because they aren't jaded, aren't bitten by failure. But how long before they down tools? Let's be real. Yesterday was the first day. They didn't necessarily make mistakes, but if you go watch the game again, Gabriel, Saliba, Lewis Skelly, Timber, obviously you need to communicate as a defense, but they looked nervous. They were unsure. You know, you could see centre-backs pulling their full-backs back. They wanted to keep their shape. We are falling off a cliff. The board need to step in, but at the end of the day, are they? And Arteta needs to get his act together. We talk about collaboration and everything. This is an issue. You look at our team, we're meant to be a team of stability now. You can make a case of 3, 4, 5 plus of these players leaving and bringing in some. I also feel indirectly, whether it's the issues we face at this climate with the congested schedule and, you know, not having a striker, not having a winger, not having a deputy for Bukayo Saka, having no options on the right-hand side in place of a number of players, being very lop-hand-sided, not having nothing on the left. You sign up for this when you don't build on what you needed to in the last 2 seasons. There's no way around it. The team stagnated. So I always say, I don't tell you what to think, just think. If you want to be as positive as a crackhead, you can do what you want. If you want to do the misery loves company thing, do what you want. The thing's in the middle. And what you can't deny is that we're looking outside. There is clouds. It's beginning to rain. And soon it's going to piss down. Because your season could be over on Sunday. It really could. Yeah, you got a second leg against Newcastle. You need to compete in the Premier League until it's mathematically impossible. But realistically, how many of you expect to win the Prem? How many of you expect to overcome a 2-goal deficit at St. James's Park? How many of you are nervous about the Man United game? I don't know, people. As I say, I don't tell you what to think, just think. One thing I will tell you to do is please smash the like button. If you allow me to share my screen, hopefully this doesn't flop me, people. Before I get into what I want to get to, is it changing? Can you lot see it changing, yeah? You lot can see the slides changing and that. I hope so, man. I hope so. I hope so. We had 14 shots in the first half. Newcastle had 5. And yeah, it was even. We competed, but their qualities of shots was different. That's the difference between having great attackers and not having them. We had 14 shots free on target. By the end of the game, we had 23 shots free on target. After 70 minutes, we had 3 shots on target. So what does that essentially mean? We didn't hit the target in the second half. So you can talk about, don't make the mistake of being busy with being productive. It's nonsense, man. You've got players that have poor decision making. You've got players that aren't clinical. We're creating minimal chances and we don't have the ability to take advantage of that. We're not defending well. This is not sustainable. Whatever way you want to dress it up, football is won and lost in both ends. Not defending well enough, not scoring well enough. The midfield is more questions than answers week in, week out. What is going on? Terrible squad building. In fact, I'm exaggerating a bit. It's horrible. It's squad building. Yes, it's been decimated by injuries and whatnot, but everyone gets them. Everyone gets illness, and that's still no excuse. Nobody watched that. Again, I'm a hypocrite because I do think we was a bit flat, and you could see players were leggy, but no one watched that and thought illness is the reason we didn't win. It's nonsense. So you lot that love XG, you can look at this XG bullshit and see that it's 3.76 to 1.53. But these are, you know what, away from it being a cup game, how many times do we sit here and speak about the same things? How many times? Anytime we drop points, it's because of low blocks, mid blocks, not taking opportunities, switching off defensively. It's the same old thing time and time again. And the difference is startling. Now, Martinelli has to do better. Is it the most Calam miss I've seen from Martinelli? 100% it's not. But it's on brand with relying on players that can't do it. Martinelli is a squad player at best. His decision-making is pony. You don't know my heart is bleeding as I say this. I love the guy. But it's all gear, no idea. There's been no improvement in the final third of his. I don't know if that's on the team. I don't know if that's on Martinelli. But what I do know is these things change games. Just like in a cup, it's a cup game. You have to take your chances. You have to. Kai Havertz, I actually feel sorry for you generally through 90 minutes because you're dropping into midfield and you're working out wide and whatnot. You've got to hit the target there. You have to hit the target there. But at the same time, I can't get mad at these players because I know Martinelli's not clinical. I know Havertz isn't 30. I know if Saka's not there, we're in trouble. So how much am I going to keep blaming the players and look at who's assembled it? What's going on? What is going on? And then, you know, this is the thing that annoys me. You look back in 2022, I'm sure the year we signed Kai Havertz, apparently Arsenal didn't want to activate Alexander Isak's release clause back then because they thought it was above his market value. What's his market value now? And Mikel Arteta said the ball arrived to him and he had one of the big chances. That's what you have when you have a real quality up front. But we've seen that last season. So why haven't we got real quality up front? If you name Arsenal's strongest 11 and we used to focus on the front three, you know, it probably is Martinelli, Saka, Kai Havertz, whoever you want on the left, right? You're a liar if you think you can't upgrade on Martinelli, and you're defo lying if you think you can't upgrade on Kai Havertz. What's going on? Some of you even sat here and were echoing what the club saying, don't sign a striker because we got Kai Havertz. I'm not even dissing Kai because I've got past the point. Kai, you shouldn't be here. You defo shouldn't be the striker. You shouldn't be someone we relied upon. I think we've drawn as much blood from that stone as we can. We take squad players and make them regulars, and we're surprised when it's crunch time and it's time to get over the line that we're in a situation like this. It's jarring. And then you get onto the goals. Now, obviously, every goal you can go back and look one, but that's the difference with us and Newcastle. They're taking their half chances. It's a long ball forward. Players are switching off. Isak's made a lovely run. Timber, Martin Odegaard, Saliba and Gabriel actually are going for the same ball. They're at 6s and 7s, people. It's a bit of street smartness by him to push Odegaard. I like that. That tells you good, you know, nice guys finish last. We need some of that. It's terrible from us, man. It's terrible. Then obviously Isak's pull it into an empty net. It is what it is. This annoyed me more because we're not following runners. From a Newcastle perspective, it's elite. Isak finds Murphy. Keep an eye on. I'll show you on Gordon, people. This is the difference. They're expecting stuff. Our players are not arriving in the box. Our players are not expecting David Raya or a goalie to spill it. It's not making sense, people. It really isn't. And then I'll bring this clip. Isak's passed the ball, as you just saw from the last one, right? Isak's passed the ball out wide, right? Partey, Rice, not one of them has followed that runner. These two, it's not good enough. Everybody's ball watching. It is not good enough because this is the things that are happening in the Premier League. Smash the like button. It's not good enough. The ball's coming again. Nobody. The only time we was aware of Isaac last night is when it was too late. He's obviously had the shot. It's not worked. But again, if I go back a couple slides, people, watch Gordon. Remember that one, yeah? Gordon has obviously made a run from here to here. He's expecting Raya to F it up. Our players don't have that instinct. He's expecting Timber's obviously switched off. We don't have that natural inclination to do that, people. And then obviously he's put it in the back of the net. And then you start to look at stuff. For me, clearly, it's as clear as day. You know, again, I rushed this together, people. Allow me. But need to sign a striker or a forward or something. Don't you dare play like this against Manchester United because Man United should be smelling blood. Odegaard, you're not in this alone, but I'm not going to lie. I need my captain to step up. I think Rice stepped up a lot more than you. We can criticize Rice and 100 million and not passing the ball forward. It's the second week in a row. I've seen Rice at least try. Now, I don't. This A experiment with Declan Rice, it needs to stop. It needs to stop. That's not him. That never got him bought for 100 million. That never got him England caps. That never got him West Ham captain winning a European trophy. Put the man back in the 6. I don't know what you got to do in the 8. If you got to put Lewis Skelly in there, so be it. You definitely need to be looking for an 8 in the summer. If it was up to me, we have a striker, we have a winger, we have a central midfielder, all signed this month. Of course, that's easier said than done. Defenders falling off a cliff. Midfielders at 6s and 7s. Once again, big up young Miles Lewis Skelly. Mikel Arteta, a lot of this is your own doing from a tactical point of view. It feels like the same old cycle. We do look like we're out of gas. It does look uninspiring, flat, and all of those connotations. It's the same old issues. We can't break down lower mid blocks. In Newcastle's case, you saw 4-5-1/5-5-0. They look like a team that wanted to win a trophy and end their club's trophy drought. Come to a ground they ain't won since 2010. Everything I saw in Newcastle, big them up, I never saw in us. And I know the boys wanted to win, but that's not a performance that you put in the semi-finals against one of the most informed and dangerous sides in the Premier League with their attacking quality and a great manager and all the supporting acts. It does make me think as well, and I'll pour this to you lot. Has Arteta taken us as far as he can go? Because you lot know me, I'm very fond of the manager, but I'm not one of these Arteta glazers, if that makes sense. Has he taken us as far as he can go? Probably not, because the man signed a new deal. And I'd say the most damning thing is Newcastle took off the real G's early. Is that you don't need that? You don't need 90 minutes. You don't need 90 minutes out there. Come off the pitch. Not rating our thing. And Newcastle take nothing away from their performance. They just had to be competent. Now, I am taking a bit of things out of context with Mikel Arteta, yeah. But when we lose and when we perform like this, off the backdrop of how we've been performing anyways, I don't want to hear about the football. Because Newcastle could complain about the football. They found a way to put it in the back of the net. Last time I checked, the ball's still round. Anyways, the gaffer said, we also kicked a lot of balls over the bar. We do that, man. It's so tricky that these balls fly a lot. So there's details that we can do better. It's very different to the Premier League ball. And you have to adapt to that because it flies different. When you touch it, the grip is very different as well. So you have to adapt to that, which is true in jest. But come on, bro. You're chatting shit now, man. That's got nothing to do with it. He said it's just half time. When I see the team play, how we deal with a lot of situations and play against a very good team, I must say I have full belief that we can go out there and do it. How? Because we're struggling to score 1 goal. We're struggling to score 1. Are you going to get 2 at St. James's Park? Well, it's a dangerous one because if you go gun-ho from the start and you try to go machine for machine with them, they'll kill us on the counter-attack. And we don't look like a team, 1 looking impossible. How are you going to get 2? You have to try to take that into extra time. This is a myth. It's a myth. Now, obviously, a month from now, we could look a lot more positive as a football club, and Newcastle could look a lot more negative. But come on, man. Come on, man. This is nonsense, Gaffer, man. If you look at what both teams produced and the dominance, it's not the result that reflects the story of the game. But the reality is they were super efficient with the chances they had and we weren't, which is true. But at the end of the day, we could say that several times this season. At the end of the day, the result justifies the narrative. That's it. The winners win, the losers explain. And there's always context and narrative. And we're saying the same old things. Oh, we were even for possession. We had shots. We had this. You're confusing being busy with being productive. The hardest thing in football is to put the ball in the back of the net, you know. And we struggle at that. And that's just one of our issues. So we can waffle about 69% of the ball to their 31 or 23 shots to 7. Who made it count? Who made it count? It weren't us. And again, stop this Declan Rice as an 8 thing, man. Even that. Declan, I think you showed courage in the last 2 games, but it's square pegs in round holes. Of the 362 matches in his career that Hughes scored have on record, Declan Rice has only ever created 3+ big chances in 2 games. Brighton away, Newcastle away. Both have come inside 4 days. So where is my other midfielders? Part of you doing your thing. Odegaard, I need you to do more. I know you've had a kid and it's not just you, but I need my captain to stand up to be carried. You lot know I love Martin Odegaard, but come on now. I'm not seeing protagonists. I'm not seeing difference makers. We're getting back to that Arsenal of old where it's 2 players turning up. And then you look at key passes versus Newcastle. Declan Rice had 5. Odegaard had none. So what's going on? We're asking Odegaard to win duels and Declan Rice to create. What the hell is going on? What is going on? Clearly need a winger. Clearly need a striker. But even that, look at the way we're creating. Look at how we're look at how we're going about stuff. Look at how we're going about stuff. A striker changes our lives. It changes our fortunes. But the way we're creating, we're not creating enough chances. Even if we had Isak, he'd be amazing for us. He probably scores yesterday, but he wouldn't play to his true maximum because we are not creating. Obviously, Odegaard's the chief creator, but creativity should be coming from everywhere. Why else have you got inverted fullbacks and late runners and people running deep and all this crap? But you don't want to sit here and tell me we've got many guys that can score goals, set pieces. We've got 90 plus goals, which is all true and shows there's a positive base. But when you look beneath it and look at it with your eyes, you knew this was coming. It is what it is. And I'm not trying to catch Martin Odegaard out. I'm more trying to ask a question of everybody because I only know Lewis Skelly, Jorginho, you lot did well yesterday. Other than that, I don't know. Before the game, he said, we're one step away from the final. And it would mean so much to all of us if we could get back to Wembley with a chance of winning a trophy. It's been our aim for a long time. We spoke about how good we were in a calendar year with our stats and everything, but we want to finish that with a trophy or as many as possible. We're still in all competitions and we're going to fight as long as we can in every single one of them. Now, I have no doubt that you didn't want to lose, but did you go out there and try? Did that performance correlate with them words from you, Martin Odegaard, and your players? Fair enough if it did. And if you believe we can come back in this tie, fair enough. You know, at the end of the day, you got 90 minutes. Weird things have happened in football. We've gone to Newcastle, been 4 goals up and ended the game 4-4, which, boy, it is what it is. Prior to this season, only once has a side in the semi-finals of a League Cup progressed to the final, having lost the first leg by 2+ goals, with Aston Villa doing so against Tranmere Rovers in 93-94. I was born in 95, so this would be the first time if we do it that I've seen it in my lifetime. That sounds like a fairy tale. Ambition and money talks. This club won't do it. They're always looking for a budget deal. If you want to be the best, you have to put down the money. Zinchenko needs to be sold. Whatever he's worth, put it down. The Isak coffers. I hear that, but these men are not going in the summer. And to be fair, Zinchenko's the least of my issues in relation to that game, man. Like, Isak loves London. He loves scoring against Arsenal. He loves scoring against Spurs. He's in the great purple patch. Even that, prior to the game, he had like 13 goals in 14 games. We didn't put in a good defensive performance to make it difficult for him. Could be worse, could be worse, could support Tottenham. It could, but that's of little or no consolation. 23 shots, and people think a bad man striker wouldn't want to be in the mix getting his shots. But how many? I hear you, and you're not wrong, but for me, it's about the creativity. How many shots went over the bar? How many times did the Bradca have to make a good save? We saw goal mile scrambles. We saw people trying to backheel it. We saw Gabriel have 1-2 shots. We saw Timber getting in the mix. How much quality efforts really did we see? We didn't see none. There was a couple clear-cut chances. Martinelli should be on the score sheet. Havertz should be on the score sheet. So it's a bit of a myth, really. We are creating, but the quality of creating is not there. It's really not. You're doing a lot. All of this is down to having a serious striker. But if I'm doing a lot, I'm doing a lot in it. I love my football club, but I think that's that's a very basic view. Of course, goals win games. They were clinical. But how many times have we said that? Was that said against Brighton when we didn't create fuck all in that first half, apart from the Ethan goal? Was that said against Brentford, where, yeah, we done all right to come back? Was that said against West Ham when we went 4 goals up and then took our foot off the gas? There's serious question marks around our creativity across 90 minutes, around our goal scoring beyond the usual suspects, around the left-hand side, around the right-hand side, around injuries and the knock-on effects of having depth. Strikers are one thing, but we don't have anybody else. If Saka isn't here, which he isn't, we're in issues. If I'm doing a lot, respectfully, this ain't the platform for you. Like, Isak is not coming to Arsenal, even if we put 110 mil on the table. I promise you. Find someone else. The pressure is on this week, Mikel. But again, it's the same old, man. They just bring on next season and we'll be saying the same things. And look how we finished second off. Come on, man. Kai Havertz, right wing. Really? And of the the 2 names behind the front 3, Declan Rice is offering a lot more than Odegaard. And I'm not trying to catch anyone out or get at any player and whatnot. What I would say is everyone's got to stand up to be counted. But the team does look out of gas. It looks spent. It's lacking imagination. It needs signings. Signings doesn't even guarantee us success. It's not sustainable. It is not sustainable with this group of players and the injuries that we're facing and the tired legs with all the games we've got going forward. The club have shot themselves in the foot. They've harmed us as fans. And I said it in the summer and I say it again. I've got a lot of things I feel sorry for Mikel Arteta about. Injuries and the knock-on effect of not having squad depth. I don't feel sorry for Mikel Arteta, and I don't feel sorry for the Cronkies or anyone that's involved or has some sort of say in recruitment. Silliness, man. Silliness. How many times have we seen this? You know, both teams have dominated. They've taken their chances. We see the same thing week in, week out. And I think Theo Walcott's bang on the money. What worries me for Arsenal is they're getting excited about set pieces all the time rather than free-flowing football, which they're known for. We are shying away from it. It was very lackluster performance in the second half. It's going away from free-flowing football and creating chances. I'm all for the set pieces, but we need to do a bit more from open play. It's a lack of confidence, I think. There are a lot of nerves in the stadium. Maybe around this climate, it's a lack of confidence and nerves. But we've been playing like this for the best part of a year. It's the tactics. It's what the gaffer is telling them to do. So I'm not sure about that, Theo, man. I'm not really sure about that. What's Ian Wright said, man? He said something needs to change. What I'm looking at now for Mikel Arteta and what he's going to need, he needs help. I know it's very difficult to get anything in this January window, but he needs someone else, because if it carries on like this, it's going to be very difficult to score. They aren't scoring with corners. We're not scoring with chances. And we said in August, I love the fact that we like scoring from corners. Keep doing that. But you need to find other solutions, because what when it runs dry? Corner. When have you last heard me on YouTube say corner boys in the building? We're not in the building. We're not even on the planet. We aren't scoring with corners. We aren't scoring with chances we're making. Something needs to change. Something needs to happen. And even that, we're creating minimal clear-cut chances. And you don't have clinical players. Even that, I would still have concerns, because we were getting away with it. So fair enough, man. Fair enough. If you genuinely think this is all right. Before the game, Mikel Arteta said he's a top player when speaking about Isak. In top form, scoring a lot of goals. We tried to minimize the strength of the opposition. That's a big part of the plan when we're playing any opponent, which is true. But did we try that? And I'd also echo that to the players. The manager and the players, you know how difficult Isak is. And not to make Newcastle about Isak, because there's a bunch of quality. But did you put in a performance that's required against one of the most lethal front men on the planet, let alone this country? Fair enough. If you think you did. Fair enough. You look at the top half versus the bottom half results. 10 against the top half, 10 against the bottom half. We've won twice against the top half and won 9 against the bottom half. We've drawn 6. Of course, there's been red cards against the top half, and we've drawn 1 against the bottom half. We've lost twice to the top half and none to the bottom half. Against the top half teams, we've got 12 points. Against the bottom half, we've got 28. So it's fully on brand in that. There's reason to be positive. There's reason to be negatives. We're a mixed bag, man. Our next 6 games, Man United at home, Spurs at home, Aston Villa at home, Zagreb at home, Wolves away, Girona away. What do you lot want me to say? These players, if you care and you want to forget the fans for a sec, forget the club, salvage your season, because you lot that are going to have to sit there in May thinking about what the hell you've done for the best part of a year when you're seeing other teams celebrate stuff. You've got a cup final on Sunday against Man United. Make no mistake, in the FA Cup, which for both teams, that could be the only source of real joy. North London derby, it goes without saying. You need to be up for that. Villa, you definitely need to be up for that. Zagreb, you need to be up for that. Wolves away could get long. Girona could get long. So it's up to these boys, man. It's up to these boys to decide what they want to do, man. We've already gone over the Mikel Arteta thing. Let's start closing some tabs, man, before I get back into what you lot are saying. Big up you lot, man. At this point, I'm a bit checked out, man. I'm a bit checked out. Man. United have FA Cup winning experience. No chance we win that game. So do we. Are we just at the point where only Hayland is real quality? Gonna convince Kroenke that Isak is the Nikola Jovic equivalent. Am I the only one scared for United? They have a weird knack of turning up against bigger teams. Sasha, I don't think you are. I think, forget United. Just with the way we're playing, it's got to be scary. They've had a week to prepare. We're having 2 games this week. We're down to our bare bones. The players that are fit, beyond all the criticisms, we do look leggy. They do look leggy. Second half, man, look leggy. And for me, look like we're breaking mentally. Decisions are not going our way. People are smashing the floor, and rather than playing to the whistle. Before, we obviously used to have something to say, but they go on. Players are breaking mentally, physically and mentally. People are looking fatigued, and this manager looks fatigued. It's only half time. We've seen those comments already. It is only half time in the tie. I don't want to hear nothing, man. We've gone over that. It's just half time. When I see we've gone over that. On the fatigue of the team, if we lose the game or draw the game, it's going to be down to that. If we win and today we score 3 that we should have scored, the story would have been different, which is true. But results paint the narratives, man. The winners win, the losers explain, bro. It's incredible. They're tireless and how they try in every single action. But I don't even want to talk about that. We have so many games coming up, big ones, and the team really wants it. Okay, so tiredness ain't a thing. Then what went wrong? On any regrets? The 2 goals that we gave away, after 1 or 2 deflections in the first one, the goal arrives. It's preventable, but they generate that chaos. They're good at that. Then the second one in particular, the first and second reception in the box, and then the ball cannot get there to score the goal, but it gets there. We can do better. We have to. On not having luck. You make your own luck. I don't want to fucking hear about this luck shit no more, man. Forget that. You make your own luck. You make your own luck in life. Dead. Stop all of that. No, well, compared to last season, and for example, in the Premier League, we're in the same position. We were knocked out of the Carabao Cup earlier, so we're in a better position. Considering everything that happened, I don't really want to use that as an excuse, because the team still performs and competes with the best teams. We are one of the best teams in form right now, and we produce much better things, so no time to talk about that. Are we really? Because ultimately, we're dying by the high standards you set then. Are we really? Because if we really are, then we need to get our acts together. Because then there's even less excuse to be performing like this. On getting players back for the second leg. Hopefully, yes, we'll have more players back. We'll have more options to do that and freshness that we're going to need in that period. We play so many important games. So I hope so. I'm not going to lie, man. You've never heard me say this. I wish the international break was this week. Because the players that are available, they look knackered. And that's the least of the worries. That's just on top of all the criticism I have. That's that. And this is, you know how it gets for Arsenal people. Smash the like button. A couple players come back. Mysteriously, some other players are injured. What I would say is the manager, the players, you lot need to have a long, hard look in the mirror because you're cheating yourselves. You're throwing your season away. You're throwing it away. And it could be all wrapped up. Fair enough, though, man. I don't know if he's worried that missing chances could become a psychological problem. Evidently, we saw it towards the end of last season, like this. Well, the December period last season, we created a bag of chances, not putting them back in. Went to buy the same players that were missing, scoring. Obviously, there's psychological issues, and psychological issues are a big factor in football that no one talks about. The same way when you're losing or things are going wrong, they can get worse. When things are going good, they can get great. There clearly is. You've got players that you think Martinelli doesn't know I'm struggling to score goals, rightly or wrongly. You think he doesn't know? You don't think every chance that he's missed, he is playing on him. Kai Havertz the same, and the rest of them. It is what it is, man. Nothing tried to improve. There are things that we could have done better. We were unlucky in moments. We weren't unlucky in no moments. We weren't. We conceded 2 stupid goals because we didn't defend to the previous high standards we've set. We didn't put the ball in the back of the net. There was no unlucky stuff. There's no unlucky stuff. There's nothing unlucky about that. Stop this, because this is what always happens. It's always about unluck, and you need luck and context and narratives and all of this. No, why not just be honest? You need a certain luck for the ball to bounce there. You need that intuition as well. I mean, I look at Isak, I look at Gordon. They're expecting things to happen. If that was us in that situation, some of our players are watching the game like us. You make your own luck. That's the thing that we can do. Then probably will be higher for us to win. But certainly against this team to produce what we have produced. And looking back at the last 6 games that I watched, I haven't seen it, but the result says 2-0, unfortunately. Gaffer, for me, the most balanced content creator on YouTube, it's the same old issues. The negatives are the same old negatives week in, week out. How many times has a team barely created anything, which Newcastle was an exception because we could have been 2 goals down very early on that game before they got their goals. How many times have we dominated the team, got them camped in their own half, moving it side to side, whether we can break down the low block or not? They get one opportunity and score. All of these issues that we face on and off the field, we didn't just wake up yesterday and they were here, I don't know. On what he can do to help the players finish chances. I think we need to pray. I think people need to psychologically go and see someone. I think people need to work 10 times harder. Above that, away from that, just need better players in certain positions. It's as simple as that. Nothing, just try and show them, give them the tech. Bearing in mind, for the best part of a year, certain men have been doing this, but just show them, give them the tips on what we can do better. I think we kicked a lot of balls over the bar, and it's tricky because we've seen that already. Come on, this man. And supporters were leaving early. Naturally, they're going to. Naturally, and a gaffer, the hard work that we've set out is being ruined. You got the club and the fan base united. The Emirates was rocking for a second. Fans are voting for their feet. And I'm going back to what I said earlier. There's this habit now of when you watch the games or you're at the games of seeing Odegaard, seeing Arteta, seeing the players just try to galvanize the fans, which is not wrong. But it's a two-way street. Sometimes the fans have to lift the players. Sometimes the players have to lift the fans. 9 times out of 10, if you give the fans something to get behind, because they were noisy at the start, even though we're dwarfed by Newcastle, which is a theme of the Emirates. The away fans are always the loudest. We've never been the rowdiest bunch. You need to give us something. You're not giving the fans nothing. There's not a reason to be optimistic beyond our blind hope for the team. And we're not actually playing terrible. We're playing fucking shit, but it's not terrible. We're just not doing what needs to be done. Anyways, I think I repeated it 1,000 times now how important they are and how critical it is to maintain the level of energy and belief in the stadium to generate big chances at the end that we could have had. And because we were very close to score and make it 2-1, we would have needed that, but that wasn't the case. On having a killer instinct in front of goal, we don't have killers. Martinelli's never been a good goal scorer. Yeah, he had that great season, but even me, I'm looking back. Was that a purple patch? Was it because Zinchenko, that first year, we had an inverted fullback? People didn't really know how to mark against us. Kai Havertz had never been a killer. Now, I can't really say that of a man that scored a Champions League winning goal, but he's never been a killer. He turned up for half the season last year in the second half of it in terms of purely goal scoring. It was naiveties. Yes, we had multiple different goal scorers the last 2 seasons. But as I said then, I say now, in August, Saka is the only one you truly expect is going to maintain that. I love the fact that we score corners. Take that and make something happen from open play. Self-inflicted. There's a lot of controllables we have not controlled that have led us to this point, and we're still, in theory, in with a shout of the Premier League. Mathematically, still in theory in the League Cup, at least for a couple of weeks. Still in theory, at least until Sunday in the FA Cup. I don't even want to get into the Champions League. I think this was the best part of silverware, and I'm sure the players have their eyes on bigger things. But there's no way there wasn't a couple of these players that thought, you know what, this is probably a legitimate chance of silverware. You're so close to Wembley, you can taste it. You can see the Wembley walkway. You can see the McDonald's near the stadium. Big up to Newcastle. Whoever Newcastle get in the final, if they get to the final, small hope and copium. Hope they win. I damn well don't want Spurs to win the trophy. And my Liverpool supporting friends already giving me verbal, and they're normally quite humble. We're always going to discuss that when we don't score a goal, because when we score 5 against Palace or 3 the next game or whatever, we're not going to discuss that. I understand and try to help the players as much as we can. Now, Arteta, that's dishonest. That's dishonest, because last season, regardless of us scoring all them goals in the clustered moments, we were saying that. We've defo been saying that. Regardless, we've defo still been saying that. That's a bit dishonest. But if you don't want us to say it, put the ball in the back of the net. The hardest thing to do is score goals, and we're not creating enough. We're not creating enough quality efforts, and the 1-2 that we're creating, we're not taking. So you can waffle about possession and XG and the team this and that. End of the day, you need to put the ball in the back of the net. You need to put the game beyond reasonable doubt. Goals change games. Had Martinelli's goal of winning, it's a different game. Which, as somebody said, that was a rarity, because the first time I've seen us quick on a counter-attacking transition. Had Kai have got it, goals could change games. You don't know. We might have got a second, or at least at the very minimum, we're going into St. James's Park with something. Because now all the eggs are in Eddie Howe's basket. He could easily stink up the gaff, make us huff and puff. They walk away with it. He could say, all right, you're coming into the lines, then we're going to play you with our intensity and play on the 12th man. It could get long. It could get long. We'll see, man. On Isak, I don't think he created or had any big chances, but he was involved in both goals. That's all we need. Unfortunately, see, even the guy who pre-frees this can't even be bothered. Man, what is that? I think that means unfortunately, with the 2 times he had the ball in the box, that's what you have, the real quality up front, and they can make a difference. They're very clinical. Fair enough. Timber wants to put things right in the second leg. Timber, I hear that, man, but it's dead, bro. It's dead, man. It's dead. It's all to play for in that game. It's still a semi-final. It's still not done. But at the same time, we have a lot of games coming up. But we have to look back at this game and learn from it, definitely. I don't like losing the first match. But now that that's the case, I think it's a good thing that we have a second chance in the second leg. I think if you look at the game, we dominated a big part of it. But this is the thing. Football's a 90-minute game. And I'm not even talking about Timber. Some of our fans like to do that, just focus on the good rather than take the good, the negative, and see what's going on over a 90-minute game. I'm tired of this, because we've dominated big games and not put the ball in the back of the net. That's what's going to win you trophies. And it's like these fans that want to bring out these stats and say keep context and that and whatnot. They're always trying to do that holier than thou. I'm better smarter than you. No, because you can't lie to people all the time. There's sometimes where the over negative thing is going to sell. The over positive thing is going to sell. When you get to a climate like this, everybody has to see what is in front of their eyes. Anyways, man, I think if you look at the game, we dominated a big part of it, but we gave 2 easy goals away, which is not what we usually do. I hear that, and I love the honesty. But of recent, this season, we have been giving away cheap goals. So it's a tough one to take. But at the same time, it's half time. We need to keep our heads up. Fair enough, man. Fair enough, man. And this luck thing, you make your own luck. I think we needed a little bit of luck. We created chances and you have to score. On the other hand, if you give 2 easy goals away, it makes it hard because they're going to drop very low, which makes it even harder. But it's a good challenge for us. We have to learn from today and take it into the next game. It's never easy to bounce back from a loss at home. So we need our supporters on Sunday. We're going to give everything. And I think it's a beautiful match to bounce back. Well, provided you bounce back. We need to bounce back. You need to bounce back. Because you know how Man United fans are. We've all got Man United supporting friends. You see if them lot win. They're unbearable. They're in my, for no reason, they're in my mentions. Bearing in mind, so many teams have rocked up at the Emirates and failed to do what Newcastle did. They're already in my mentions chirping. Boy, it's us against the world. And I'm the sort of person in my private life, and I'll demand it from my players. I don't care how negative it looks, I don't care if there's 10 reasons to be negative. Think of the one reason is positive. If you're backed against a corner, you need to stand up and fight. Would you rather live on your knees or die on your feet? It's a martyr thing. They're not on what I'm on. I'm not seeing the courage that I've seen. You're cheating yourselves. And I know you lot want it, obviously, because you're training every day and all these things. I do think you care. but you're not caring. You're not showing you care on the pitch. And some of you ain't got that dog in you. Some of you ain't got that fight in you. A lot of you are pussycats. A lot of you are nice guys. If I had a daughter, want them to be with one of you lot. I need twats. Even seeing Isak pushing Odegaard, rightly or wrongly, bro. Sometimes you got to do dirty things to live clean, you know. I don't advocate it, but sometimes if you know that there's a defender tackling you in the box, leave a leg trailing. Nice guys are finishing last, and football's the best indicator of that. Arteta said there's not a single moment that stands out more than actually when you have that cup and you're offering the cup to your supporters, sharing it with the people that you work every day with. That was before the game. So considering Odegaard and his comments, did we perform like that? And I'm not here to catch anyone out. I don't big up Lewis Skelly and Jorginho. It's irrelevant how good they were because we're all in this together. Did you not perform like that? We cheated ourselves. For me, it's all about the performance. We have no divine right to win trophies or win games. Winning, losing, drawing, it comes with football. But you see, for me, once the performance isn't there, once a team can walk out of your stadium and say, bloody hell, we didn't even have to be that good. Bear them kits are clean. That's my issue. The Bradka had the great farewell because he's going to the Middle East. Dan Burn had nothing to do. Couldn't believe his luck. Probably never wants Saka to return. This is crazy. This is crazy. And there's a reality in general where you could be 2 goals down. And me speaking for myself, I could be very optimistic that we would overcome that. But we ain't got the protagonists. We ain't got the difference makers. I'm not seeing belief. I'm seeing people crumble at the first sign of adversity at this moment in time. That's just me. We're going to progress with the rest of this people. But yeah, man, let me bring you lot in. Big up you lot. DG went down to the Emirates right after the watch along. Great cameo on AFTV. My guy always speak the real. Appreciate that. If you want to see that, Robbie Boyd me. I'm part of the... Felt like Raheem Sterling in the cup game, really. I'm part of the roundup. If you go on my community tab, I think if you skip to, 6 minutes 25, might pop down along for the United game, man. The XG thing is dead because many of these people that are looking at XG, they don't know why you're using it. Of course, with context and the eye test and proper analytics, the XG helps, but it just creates this false sense of dominance. And at the end of the day, the winners win, the losers explain. Even if we go back to the very early Emirates days, we'd have possession. We'd have a million chances. We'd actually play some great football. The other team will go down the other end and score. Therefore, not nervous about the United game. To be nervous means I have hope. It could go well. I don't believe in this team anymore. I must admit, I expect to mash up United. I expect to mash up Spurs, but I am nervous. And man, we have to win. Forget all this lying down like some pussycat thing, man. Never seen Arteta making so many excuses. It's a dark day when your manager is bringing up the ball as why we couldn't score. And the same ball Newcastle had to use, you know. Bro, man are talking about the ball. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I get it. It's a different ball, a different feel, but that's got fuck all to do with it, man. F all to do with it. Big up the members, man. Chase Golder said, we need another defensive mind. Isak for the second goal. I hear that in an ideal world, we get another 8 in the 6. But you see me, Lewis Skelly midfield soon. Lewis Skelly midfield soon. Bring me at 8. Put Rice back where he is. Moreno, you're about party. You might as well stay for another year, man. Pardon me, DG, we ain't going anywhere under Arteta. We have, man. But I applaud Arteta. You've got us to this point, and I still maintain, I do think from a coaching point of view, you're a genius in many ways. But whether you're a good manager, whether you're a good coach, whether you're a good manager, whether you're the one to get her over the line, I don't know. And I also have to question the ownership. The minute you got 2 years back in the champs, you've given Arteta 90 million, which is not enough. He swindled the peas and not managed his budget correctly. But we've taken our foot off the gas. 3-year deal immediately. It's just a shit show. Like sporting director, which we're gonna look over this Rosicky stuff in a sec. And this is what I mean. The club give you enough to. Sorry, people, I'm still here. The club give you enough to be optimistic about. Yeah, they give you enough to be optimistic about and enough to be pessimistic. It's a mixed bag. It's like buying a fruit bowl. It's like buying a fruit bowl. Yeah, a bowl of fruit where it's got raspberries and apples and mangoes and whatever fruits, just a bunch, like a bunch of different fruits. Half of it is sweet, extremely ripe, and half of it is rotten. How long before the rest become rotten? Because do you not really want to be real? Let's be real. Saliba's dropped off the last 2 games. Gabriel as well. And I don't blame them because our team is the ethos around defending has dropped. Bro, man, we're more inspired when our defenders are in front of goal. And I don't necessarily mean that as a criticism necessarily now beyond the obvious to Martinelli, Kai Havertz, and all of them guys. Our defenders are the ones when we're seeing Timber trying to have an effort. When we're seeing Gabriel, what's going on? I saw Gabriel Magalhaes right wing at a point yesterday. It was a madness. You got to be strong to be Arsenal fan, you know. It's a madness. Shout out you lot, man, because I like my team, the supporters, them. You lot do what you're doing, man. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Our defense was bound to play down to the level of our attack. They can't stay keeping us in games by themselves. Right, Saliba, on the best of days, I can't begrudge you for effing off to Madrid. If you want to go, do your thing, man. It is what it is, man. I've seen Thierry Henry leave. Like, it is what it is. I can't blame them. Ethan costs nothing, zero quid. These people have 100 million standards for an academy grad. It is what it is. Even that, man, like, it feels to me, obviously I'm exaggerating a bit, but considering this current climate, it feels like we're getting, before it looked like Ethan, Lewis Skelly, you lot could just be young G's and just develop. In this current climate, and again, a lot of exaggeration, where Lewis Skelly is shining, when prior to his injury with Ethan, it feels like when Smith Rowe, obviously Martinelli didn't come from the academy, but when Martinelli, Smith Rowe, and Saka and all them guys came through, they came through in chaos. It's starting to feel like that again. First time we lost with Rice and Partey midfield. Not going to lie, I thought that midfield would be lit, but it doesn't work. To be fair, the only thing I can accuse Partey and Declan Rice of is not following Isak for that goal. But I think we just didn't defend well. We didn't take our chances. I'll be real, man. I'll be real, and I think something needs to change. I think certain men got to play in the position that got them to become professional footballers at this level. Bro, Lewis Skelly, I'm on what he's on. He takes risks. He understands what's going on. He's doing his thing, man. But it is what it is. DG, but if you play Rice as 6, Partey will hold bench and he's an important piece to the team. And that's the issue. And that's where even when I'm saying put Lewis Skelly in midfield. But again, do we get too hung up on 6s and 8s? Because there's times the 6 has to play like a bit of an 8 in a game phase and vice versa. Like they're both good players. Just make them do stuff. Are we overcomplicating this thing? You're both good players. Make them do stuff. You two know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Manager, you really know them man's strengths and weaknesses. Put them in the platform where they can do that. Are we doing too much in that regard? Our stadium emptying at like the 70th minute was depressing. Zinchenko is outright not needed at the club. Yeah, Zinny needs to cut, but yeah, man, it's the least of the issues, man. DG Arteta came with the excitement. The ball is not the same as the one they use in the Prem. That guy needs to be sacked. Someone else needs to take the job from him. And even that, I'm not saying to sack Arteta or not to sack him, but we're gonna go through the same thing again. The next manager's gonna come in. He's gonna have to flush out the players he wants, keep the players he does. He's gonna need transfer windows. He's gonna get us to a point where we're fighting for the league and whatever. Then we're gonna ultimately demand what's going on with the Cronkies. Arteta, you dropped the bag this summer. Because I don't feel you did what you needed to do in the market and the club. You didn't. So don't come out here and tell me about we want players with X factor and this and that when this is what happens and it's the cycle continues. And then it's next season. At this point, it's a social experiment, man. Seriously, we had our best summer in terms of sales and getting rid of Deadwood. That's the price we pay for buying squad players instead of game changers. Boy. We need an experienced coach, not an apprentice coach. Is he even an apprentice? You've been here 5 years now. It's been said Arteta enjoyed the 1-0 win over Ipswich more than the 5-2 versus West Ham. This was the fundamental problem, the manager's obsession with margins. I hear that. Listen, Arteta can enjoy what he wants. It's just, for me, it feels like you've done the hard part. You've done bringing the club back to where it needs to get to. It's just, we just need the little things that make a difference. We're buckling at it. It's like we're scared of success. We'll score 5 against some bottom half of the table when the coaching gap kicks in. And that's what happened last time. The United match is going to be interesting. Bro, football isn't won on stats and shots. And that Newcastle deserved that 2-0 lead easy. How can Arteta say the scoreline wasn't fair? Life isn't fair, bro. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. There's probably been games where we've beat teams across the Premier League and they reckon they deserve more from the game. Likewise with us. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. That goes for life and football. So who really cares, man? That is dead. Big up yourself, Amika. Forgive me for mispronunciation. Pray for you to continue to prosper in all you do. Right back at you, man. We're praying for everyone. Thanks for being a true Gooner. The best is surely meant for you. God bless. I think that Rosicky will do well. I need to see Rosicky's homework. I've got no research on what Rosicky's done at Sparta Prague. I don't know people. But on one hand, if he's the right man, fair enough, go and get it done. If he's done positive stuff, go and get it done. On the other hand, are you just one of the men them? Because you was Arteta's former teammate, really. In fact, there was a thread. Can I find it? There was definitely a thread on this. And I don't know if this person knows what they're talking about, people, but I'll attempt to find the thread as we progress through the live stream. Where is it? It's not there. That's one. Sorry, folks. Again, I'm always making sure that we're taking in everything that we possibly can. Keep your thoughts coming. Don't forget to smash the like button. We could use that. Where is it? Can I have that one? Where did I find that thread? Was it here? Oh, he's deleted it. Well, someone had like a little thread they had done where of supposedly everything Rosicky's done or not done. Is it this? Okay, we'll see if this works. We'll get into that in a sec, man. Blaming the Cup and fans. Arteta, how about you respect the fans? To be fair, he didn't blame the fans. Most of these players can't. Oh, sorry, I already seen that. Community Shield FC, Netflix FC, looking like such, man. All jokes aside, this loss was damaging for the players. How do you make them believe they can do this? What I would say is, players, you don't need to buck up your ideas. I don't want to see any of you feeling sorry for yourselves. If you feel sorry for yourself, get out. Because it could be better, and it sure as hell could be worse. Pressure's a privilege. Good times are not guaranteed. This is what comes with playing for a big club. You do stupid stuff. You win stupid prizes. All you need to get up and work a bit harder. How do you change it? Feeling sorry for ourselves, crying about our confidence. I don't want to sound outdated, but man, the fuck up, all of you. You lost. It is what it is. The season looks bleak. So what are you going to do? Are you going to fight? Are you going to try and turn this pain into champagne? Or are you going to continue turning water into piss? The choice is yours. Whether you think you can or you can't do it, you've already got your answer. We're in January. There's no time for nonsense. DG, I rate your commitment even when ish hits the fan. Too many ifs and buts, but with this club, realistically, we aren't careful. Our league position will affect our form. Gremlin, really moving like a gremlin. I'm going to wait until the end of Jan before checking out because this was always a tough period in the season. I checked out in the summer because there's too much ifs and buts. I'm talking about if we want to continue to be in and around the title challenges and get to semi-finals and respectable positions in the champs, but not necessarily winning trophies, I think we got enough. You see, if it's coming to getting over the line, there's too many unanswered questions. There was complacency. You're assuming Kai Havertz is going to continue his form. You're assuming that there's going to be no injuries. You're assuming that the right-hand side is going to bail us out and we're just going to be able to tick over. You're assuming, like last season, we're not going to get any injuries. You fail to prepare. You prepare to fail, innit? That's why I checked out. I love the club. I enjoy the journey and whatever, but in terms of truly believing in significant silverware, myth. When it came to it, obviously prior to yesterday, I felt with everything, the League Cup is the only real feasible opportunity we have at Wembley. Of course, I'd love to win the Premier Champs, but madness. Our transition play is awful. Rice would rather play the ball back to defenders than going on a counter. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Odegaard getting bullied by Isak for the first goal. Got pushed, to be fair. We have to go strong on it versus Man U. We've got no choice. Who else have we got? Times are tough, my guy. It can't be like tomorrow. Well, today, Liverpool playing. We'll be doing a watch along, right? Liverpool probably going to go strong against Spurs. They can make 1-2 changes and whatnot. We have no, whether we're strong or weak, there's none of that. We have to play. I'd imagine Calafiori starts. I'd imagine Jesus starts. It kills me to agree with Evra, but it's always next season. You wait a couple of weeks. We're going to do this in the market. We're going to do that. Fans are going to fall for it. We've got a war chest. Then we get into the summer. All of a sudden, the P's are not there. We have to sell before we can buy. We tried. There was no one available. You really, again, of course, I don't know all the names. I would love to have Isak and Kudus. But you really think with this climate of the level of squad and what we're seeing, you really think it's an acceptable excuse to sit there and say there was nobody on the market? And if you do, fair enough. You're as stupid as the people making the decisions, respectfully. Ah, man. Rosicky's jobs for the boys again. Let's not use them swear words, mate. Who we're asking Odegaard to create for what front line? But then why is Odegaard out there? Even the press is non-existent. People saying, is that pushing Odegaard was a foul? Then if that's a foul, then Gabriel's goal against Spurs should be disallowed because he did the same thing. It's dark hearts, man. It worked. Street smartness. We miss Ben White, man. One more in midfielder like Gomares or Ford and we go up a level. A mentality thing needs to change beyond everything, man. That's one thing. Smash the like button. I think the board wants Arteta until Nagelsmann is available after the next World Cup. I could be wrong, but like, why Julian Nagelsmann? Like, why do you think that's the case? Why do you think that's the case? I'm not too sure, man. Certain fans were saying don't sign a striker because we got Kai Havertz. DG, when Martinelli was through 1 week with the keeper, did you think he would score? Because in my opinion, I didn't think he did. I'm a fool, man. I thought he would, man. You can see you can see my watch along reaction, man. You can see my watch along reaction. Hey, none of them guys. Liverpool can rest players on the weekend. At this point, man, we just see where life takes us now, man. Yeah, don't mention them names there. Come on, you lot. Stop spamming, please. I mean, by all means, banter the club, run jokes, but there's no need to spam. There's no need to spam, please. You're ruining the convo, man. Anyways, Thomas Rosicky leads contenders for Arsenal's sporting director role. Return would likely be put on hold until the end of the season. Jason Ito, man, make a name for yourself. Make a name for yourself in this window. Rosicky is a leading candidate to become Arsenal's sporting director, although any return to his former club would likely be put on hold until the end of the season. It's understood Rosicky, who has been the sporting director at Sparta Prague since 2018 and spent 10 years at Arsenal as a player, has been in regular contact with the members of the club's hierarchy as they search for a replacement for Edu. The 44-year-old played with Mikel Arteta and is said to have remained close to the Arsenal manager and Per Mertesacker, the former Germany defender who's manager of the academy. Edu's former deputy, Jason Ito, has assumed the responsibility since it was confirmed in mid-November that the former Brazil midfielder was departing to join the multi-club network of Nottingham Forest owner Evangelos Mirankis. Ito is expected to oversee the January transfer window, but it's understood there are reservations about appointing him permanently given his lack of experience, with Rosicky regarded as a more suitable alternative. He has overseen Sparta's revival in recent seasons that culminated in a return to the Champions League proper this season for the first time since 2004, although they were trashed 5-0 by Man City in October. Arsenal are said to have been impressed by his record with the Czech side, who have won the league title for the past 2 seasons. Talks are understood to be continuing, and Rosicky is thought to be ready for a new challenge. But with Arsenal's leadership group, which includes Arteta, the executive vice chair Tim Lewis, chief executive Richard Garlick, Rosicky is thought to prefer to see out the season with Sparta before moving as they attempt to retain the Czech league title. Luis Campos, whose contract with PSG expires in the summer, has also been linked along with Brentford's director of football, Phil Giles. Bring the Brentford. Anything Brentford, bring that. Anything Brentford, bring that over here. Bring that. Anything Brighton as well. Shit, we got shot on twice. We got shot on by the Seagulls and the Magpies this week. We need to stop playing these animals. But it's believed that Arsenal would prefer to appoint someone who has an association with the club. Okay. Let me see if this thread works in this browser. If it does, people, then we can. I'm not dissing this guy. I don't know if they're talking facts or chatting. I don't know why. In fact, why isn't this working? One sec. Because I use 2 separate browsers, people. I'm not too sure why this isn't working. Give me 30 seconds and just change browsers and we'll just look through this one. Where were we? Big up you lot. Make sure you're smashing the like button and subscribing if you haven't. Again, I don't know if this is WASP, people. I really don't know if this is nonsense, but allegedly, Rosicky inherited a fractured squad and a mid-table club. Sparta finished 3rd in 2018-19. This is barely qualifying for Europe. Reflecting on the challenges, he said, this isn't about quick fixes. It's about building a strong foundation for years to come. Allegedly now, in his first full season, Rosicky began integrating youth into the first team. Adam Heuslik emerged as a star, becoming the youngest scorer in the Czech league at 16. Sparta finished 3rd, but won the Czech Cup, ending a 6-year trophy drought. On youth development, Rosicky said, our academy is our future. It's not just about selling players, but making them legends here first. And you can see why you'd be wanted here, man. Sparta finished 2nd in 2020-21, their best position in years. They obviously got a number of players. Rosicky said, we don't just want players who perform today. We want to build legends for the future. In 2021-22, apparently this season saw injuries and inconsistencies leading to a 3rd place finish. Despite the setbacks, Rosicky overhauled the scouting department, introducing analytical driven recruitment, which didn't Edu just do that? Defending the club's approach, he said, football is not just money. It's about culture, development and patience. We have a plan and we'll stick to it. 2022-23, allegedly, he began to close the gap on Sparta Prague, finishing 2nd and obviously bringing in young players. Success isn't linear, but we're on the right path. I don't know if any of this is true, people. You know how, and I'm not dissing the guy, but you know how Arsenal fans are. You know, nobody was saying give it to Rosicky. Rosicky gets it, and now all of a sudden he is the candidate, man. Just bring me the sporting guy, bring me Luis Campos. If Rosicky signs, I won't diss it. Jonas Eggval left the club, people. I think this was quite damning. When speaking about leaving Arsenal, he said, a very clear reflection for me after my time at Arsenal is that wherever my next role was, I needed to work with a sporting director. I really missed that at Arsenal. It's a lonely place being a head coach that doesn't have a sporting director. Can you extend that to Arteta in any capacity? People, let me know. Do you lot remember in June of 2024 when we went out the Champions League and, you know, the media outlets that have you who said after Arsenal's elimination against Bayern Munich in the Champions League quarterfinals, the feeling amongst the hierarchy was that the team lacked a certain X factor in attack, something special to unlock defenses on the biggest occasion. So we didn't just learn that in June going out of Bayern Munich. What did you do? What did you do to address that in the summer? When you lot find out, let me know. If Arsenal are to do business in this January transfer window, it's likely to be one of two kinds. The first possibility is that a long-term strategic target becomes feasible, such as Nico Williams. Make people feasible. Alternatively, a deal might be identified which Arsenal can pursue without significant financial implications or even long-term commitment. That's from The Athletic. And where you look at it, people, boy, it's a decision. So this is what I mean. Everybody's got to hold licks because we all talk about collaboration at this football club. Arsenal's decision-making process is more bureaucratic than at some other clubs, as names and figures have to go up the chain of command from the scouting system. Arteta, Edu, Garlick, and then on to the majority owners. The Kroenke family in the United States before making any official move can be signed off. After that, it's then communicated back down through the hierarchy in what is designed to be a model with checks and balances, but to the outside, it can be perceived as too late in a process to react swiftly in a fast-paced environment of a transfer window. Boy, Sky Germany are saying they understand Brian Mbeumo is on Arsenal's shortlist for the potential summer transfer window. The Gunners are looking to strengthen their wing position. He's contracted until 2026 and has 13 goals and 3 assists. Boy, I'd bring him in the summer, but we're still in and amongst the season. I'd love to wake up and Mbeumo signing now. They'd be mad to let him go. They didn't even let Tony go. So I have to see. Demarzio has said Arsenal will try to get Isak or Osimhen in the summer. I don't think Newcastle will let Isak go now in Jan. He's difficult to replace. Vlahovic is an option and a target as well for Arsenal. They like him, so he's on the list. Okay. We'll see. I hope so. Vlahovic opportunity could have forced Arsenal rethink. Arsenal have been handed an opportunity to reshape their January transfer strategy, with Juventus offering long-term target Vlahovic for a fee of around 55 million. We all know Mikel Arteta is an admirer of him. We didn't get him in January of 2022. He opted for Juventus. It seems like he's the 24-year-old Serbian's in contract sort of negotiations that aren't positive, people. So, yeah, it is what it is. According to sources close to the situation, contract talks with Juventus are at a standstill, and his status as the club's highest paid player by some distance has become a factor in the decision-making process. So if you move to a British club, you're going to want to get paid, aren't you? The Serie A giants have done a good trimming down their wage bill in recent seasons. Vlahovic continues to give them headaches. The Italian media previously reported that the remaining value of his contract, which runs until 2026, stands at a whopping 35 million euros. Juventus are keen to change this one way or another. Generally, they'd be open to extending his contract to amortize the figure over a long period of time. But due to the lack of progress in the negotiations, they're now ready to cash in on the striker this year to avoid losing him for nothing down the line. So, is there a credibleness in us wanting Vlahovic, or is it a case of we need a striker, we need attacking additions, we've got injuries, we've been linked with Vlahovic before, and we're just hopeful? I don't know, man. Fair enough, though, man. Fair enough. I don't know if I believe this. Apparently, we're still keeping tabs on Gyökeres and Isak. I don't know, man. Let me know your thoughts. You lot believe what you want. Arsenal have been linked with Kang Yan Lee of PSG. Apparently, PSG don't want to let the man go, so that starts and finishes that. Once again, allegedly, Vlahovic has been offered. It all depends where you read on in relation to Nico Williams. TBR Football has been told Nico Williams is now considering a move to England. Arteta is understood to be obsessed with Williams, while sources add that Arsenal do have money to spend this month, with the message being one of quality over quantity. You reckon? It all depends what you read, because Ornstein has said Arteta would like to sign Nico Williams in this window, but the finances involved make it highly unlikely. His release clause stands at 58 million euros, and when the size of his salary is factored in, it becomes even more difficult. A summer transfer is more plausible. And the event, sorry, not Juventus, Man City have been linked with Omar Marmoush again. People, apparently the message conveyed by Marmoush is that he wants Man City. This was during a recent meeting with his reps. So another player seems to bite the dust there. I know we're not signing Isak, but Chelsea and Arsenal are the only two clubs who allegedly could afford to sign Isak, who is valued at 150 million by Newcastle. Manchester United are willing to pay 43 million to sign Mbeumo from Brentford. Once again, Manchester City are pushing to complete the signing of Marmoush. He's got 30 goal contributions in 24 appearances this season. We were linked with Gittins, but I don't know what's happened. But allegedly, several scouts from Liverpool and Chelsea have been watching him. So I don't know what you make of that. Not that anyone cares about Tierney's negotiations, but Celtic have opened negotiations with Tierney about a free transfer in the summer after Arsenal declined to take up the additional year on his contract. Arsenal have not been approached about a January departure for the player, but he was linked with Leicester, West Ham, and all of that, and was alleged to have turned it down. Although Arsenal have used their Premier League quota for 2 loans, they're still able to sign players on loan from abroad. One name under discussion could be PSG forward Lee Kang-in, with the player considering his options. PSG are not actively looking to sell, and they value and rate Lee highly both on and off the pitch, while any deal would need to be at least double the 22 million euros they paid to sign him in 2023. Apparently, he's well known to Arsenal, but the price tag is currently off-putting. If, however, PSG were prepared to consider a loan with an option to buy, then Arsenal would be prepared to come to the table. So that puts that to bed. I'm not going to give up on the Douglas Luiz shouts. Apparently, he's a target for 2 unnamed Premier League clubs this month. He struggled for minutes in the in Juventus. Arsenal apparently also admirers of Mikel. Way too many Miguel players here now. Mikel Damsgaard of Brentford, which bring Damsgaard, bring Mbeumo. So yeah, man, we all know that it's looking bleak on and off the field, man. And do you remember when we was linked with Ivan Fresneda? He could be linking up with Cesc Fabregas in Como. So it is what it is, people. Don't forget, later today we're watching Spurs against Liverpool. The show has to continue, people. What else have we got? Sunday, may God be with us as we've got United, man. So who knows, man. We ain't signing any of them, man. But it makes for good conversation with us. Vlahovic, defo paper talk, man. Defo paper talk. Would rather get David than Vlahovic. I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather Vlahovic. So long as Rosicky is gonna stop Arteta signing players that we already have in the under 18s, I'm all down for him coming in. At this point, it is what it is, man. Big up, man, like Deluded, Gooner, run up the likes, people. Lucian Kid, appreciate that. Rosicky should be an equal with Arteta. I don't understand why Rosicky would be a yes man to Arteta. Arteta's got the power. I can't lie. I want an experienced guy, man. Big up, bro. Just tuned in. Depression thanks to Arsenal's abysmal performance. Don't say depression, man. You know, don't say depression, man. Keep your head up, man. As upsetting as it is, if football is the reason we're depressed, then that's a blessing in itself, man, because there's people going through some real stuff. Do you think Rosicky's coming in is Arteta being surrounded by yes men? I don't think Edu was necessarily a yes man, but I don't see Rosicky as being a strong character that's going to disrupt things. And to be fair with you, I don't think the Cronkies are going to promote the sporting director to kind of pull Mikel Arteta back in. Like, for instance, with Kai Havertz. I'm not even dissing Kai. Do you really think 65 million is the best way? Let's do this. Let's do that. I don't know. Arteta out's going to be trending, bro. Like, you know how it gets, man. Why are people blaming Arteta for signings? Arteta gives a list of people he likes / wants. Edu is responsible. That's a cop-out. I hear you, but that's a bit of a cop-out because we still hear and see it with these credible journalists. Arteta is the one that pushed for Moreno. He pushed for Kai Havertz. He pushed for Willian. You are right in a sense, but I do think we absolve Mikel Arteta of any failings on the recruitment front, which is not fair. It isn't. Edu failed 100%, but some people make out Arteta's had nothing to play in this. 90 million was never going to stretch us far, and we didn't have that much money to spend, whether inject or not. But could you argue that maybe the Cronkies tightened the purse strings because of how we're spending the peas in the last 2 years and not really getting much bang for our buck? I very much doubt everybody universally agreed to sign Raya when Ramsdale was informed, rightly or wrongly, or to sign another left back, even though I'm happy and wanted a left back with Calafiori, or necessarily thought Moreno was a difference maker, bearing in mind he had a year left on his deal and you still kind of, Sociedad kind of took you to the cleaners. Everyone's in this together, man. Klopp wanted Werner. Exactly. You need someone that can say, no, he wanted Julian Brandt. It's fair to say, Salah worked out okay for Liverpool. Who knows, man? We're all in this together, man. So all we can do is move forward, man. Like, it is what it is. We've lost to Newcastle now. extreme amount of anxiety going into the United game, but it is what it is. I can't guarantee we'll win, but what I can guarantee is win, lose, draw, watch alongs, and all other content will continue, people. So yeah, as usual, if this was a football team, we're winning the league, people, because wherever you lot are placed on this world, big up the Twitch gang. You lot always consistent, always smashing the like button, always engaging in the content, and I thank you for that, man. But we've been here for an hour and 14 minutes. I'm sure you lot are bored of listening to my voice, so I don't want to do you lot a disservice. All I can do is say thank you. For those of you that's going to join me for the Spurs watch along, I'll see you later today. If you want to see my more condensed thoughts in relation to Arsenal versus Newcastle, then just check out the reaction videos. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.
Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
Like